Hey everybody, what's going on? Andy Evans here with Columbus Wired, and look who I've got here hanging out with me. Coming down here to hang out and take part in the interview sessions at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.
Yes, sir. I'm Drew Sample.
The one and only Drew Sample. The two BuckGuys here hanging out.
That's right.
As part of the Columbus Wired post-interview session
Yes.
wrap-up. We're going to give the folks out there just an idea of what we heard at the interview sessions here today. You can also check out this content at Yamo Media.
Yeah, Yamo Media, and then also just check out our podcast, Hey Bucks.
New thing we got going on.
New
too.
thing we got
Whole
going on.
bunch of new stuff here that we're doing as in collaboration with a whole bunch of cool Buckeye stuff. But we got to hear some Buckeyes talk today.
We did.
Last interview session for players before we see them this
Play.
Saturday in the season opener in Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Drew, what did you see?
I saw Trevion Henderson today. Thankfully, I was sitting there, and I was the only one, it seemed like, who was sitting there. So we got a nice interview for you all.
Couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, my takeaway from Trevion was he is definitely seems healthy. Definitely is excited. Last year, his season as a true freshman, he talked a lot about his adversity of getting injured, not being able to talk about it, having a broken foot. A big takeaway from him. And again, all these guys are well coached. All these guys know how to deal with the media, know what to say in front of the media. They say the right things. But we look for like the little peaks, right? And I've only come to a few sessions, but I've been read in by you and Dylan Davis.
Our guy from the Delaware Gazette.
From the Delaware Gazette podcast drops tomorrow.
Yep.
So the thing I liked about what he said was that there's a lot of questions about the offensive line this year. The thing that my takeaway was he said that
he didn't say that, but obviously coming in.
Correct.
So
he didn't say that.
Kind of squashed some of those.
He squashed it because obviously you guys are asking him questions about that. And he said he thinks that the offensive line is a tighter unit this year than what it was last year.
Interesting.
He said that they did a lot of work in the offseason, becoming like one unit and just working together. And he said he's super excited to come out and show what he's got. He said he's more focused. He's been working out. That was my takeaway from what I saw. So what did you see? What were your takeaways today? You've been doing this a lot longer. You probably know how to read through more of what they're saying, what they're not saying. So what were your takeaways?
I didn't have an opportunity to really sit there and listen to Trevion for pretty much all of his interview session because I was over at the middle table, had an opportunity to hear a little bit of Xavier Johnson, as well as Lathan Ransom was out. Unfortunately, there were two guys that came out, Donovan Jackson and Josh Fryer, offensive linemen, that we were unable to get to today.
Yeah.
So, and I know, like you said, a lot of questions there on the offensive line. Josh Fryer now the starting right tackle. Donovan Jackson is your starting left guard. So didn't get an opportunity to talk to those folks today. But from what I heard out of Xavier Johnson, of course, he was named a captain this year. He was given that Block O or Block 0 jersey, which they've been doing now for the last 4 seasons. And he was given that honor of wearing that 0 jersey this year. So said he was obviously, that was a huge deal to him.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that he's in his 6th year, came in as a walk-on defensive back, then they switched him to running back, then they switched him to receiver, then they switched him back to running back, then back to receiver. He's been flip-flopped around. Yeah. So here he is finally getting his chance to shine. And, of course, he did some great things last year, the touchdown catch in the season opener against Notre Dame, and then the touchdown catch in the very last game of the season against Georgia were just things that you could tell that he had worked so hard, throughout his career to get to that point, to being named a captain, to being given that Block 0 jersey. So, I didn't get a chance to hear all of his interview. Of course, we have all of it, so check it out here on our YouTube channel or our Twitter feed or our Facebook page. I'm going to be interested to go back and hear what he had to say as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, because as you all now know, Kyle McCord named the starter, but Devin Brown is still going to play meaningful snaps. Unfortunately, I know someone had to have asked him that at some point. I did not get the opportunity to actually hear his entire interview, so I'll be interested to go back and hear what he had to say. But from what I heard, he's sounding good. Sounds like the offense is, as far as he's concerned, in really good shape.
That's been I would say that is the general. I mean, obviously, Ohio State's not going to come out and say our offense isn't any good.
Yeah, right.
So I think, a lot of questions I think are going to get answered on Saturday are going to start to get answered. So I'm looking forward to the game. I hope you guys are too. Andy, you have any score predictions?
This is an Indiana team that's being predicted as being like one of, if not the worst teams in the conference. This is still a season opener on the road against a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think the offense is going to look a little stagnant at first. I don't think we're going to see them just come out and light the world on fire. I think it's going to take a couple of drives for them to really get their mojo going. Once they do, I think you're going to see a pretty productive offense. I think you're still going to see some miscues and some gaffes here and there. But ultimately, I think the defense, too, is going to play much better. The defense is going to look much better. And, of course, playing in Indiana offense, that's not a very good offense. Maybe their defense could come out and look a little bit better than what they truly are. But I don't think that's going to be the case because I think this defense, you're going to see much improvement, even against an Indiana offense. I think ultimately at the end of the day, Ohio State, they're 30-point favorites. I don't think they're going to win this game by 30 points. But I do see a 21-point win on the books. Take it to the bank, 31-10, final score, Ohio State.
Well, since I don't have any press credentials and I'm still just a fan, I think OSU is going to blow them out. I think it's going to create more questions than answers because Indiana isn't that good. I expect to see big game out of Travion Henderson.
Okay.
I expect to see I think, the one thing with the quarterback position, as long as the offensive line is playing well, there's so many talented guys on the skilled side of the ball that if they just get these guys the ball, they're all trying to make plays. They're all going to make plays. So I think, the first 3 games we're going to have, it's the whole point. We're just kind of leading up to Notre Dame, which is the big road game when the real questions are going to get answered. So I think it's going to be a blowout. I think I'm looking forward to watching the game Saturday. And looking forward to covering this more and bringing more content like this to you guys out at home. So thanks for tuning in.
All right. And once again.
Yeah. Oh, check out our podcast. Hey, Bucks.
Yeah.
Yamo presents Hey, Bucks. We're the BuckGuys here. Thanks for tuning in, guys.